So this is part 2 of the reviewing Algebra 1 concepts. So we're going to kick into inequalities and their symbols and label what they mean. And you've probably been familiar with these symbols because you probably have seen it either in middle school or even elementary school. So one thing I want to mention, just like I said in the previous video, is that in mathematics, you typically read from left to right. So with this one here, you would have a number here and a number beside it. Let me kind of do an example here. So here's an example. You would typically see, let's say 3, and I'll use this symbol, and I will put a number here. Now, this statement here is saying that 3 is being compared to 7, and we know that 3 is definitely a smaller number, which is why I'm using this symbol to represent that. Because this symbol is facing away from the number that's on the left, we say that this means less than. So anytime the symbol is facing this way, we say less than because we read left to right. So this is less than. The other one would be an example where you would have maybe 7 on this side, and you would have to point the arrow on the other way. And so you would say 7 is greater than 3. So because it's pointing to the left, we have to say greater than. And then when you have the same symbols but with a line underneath, that means that that number can equal the number that's beside it. So this one would be less than or equal. So it can either be less than that number or even equal to it. And then this one would be the greater than, oops, my E is a little bit weird, or equal. And then the last one here kind of looks like an equal sign, but with a slash in it. So you guys could probably already brainstorm that that means not equal to. And so that's what we would use that symbol for. So when we are looking at these statements here, these inequality statements, we're going to check if they are true and false based on the inequality signs and its number. So this first one here is saying that 8 is greater than 11. So because this is facing to the left, this is the symbol is saying that 8 is bigger. And that's not true. 11 is definitely bigger, so this is false. Another thing I want to mention, like when you were in elementary school, you might see this as like an open mouth, right? So this open mouth always eats the bigger number. And so in this case, 8 is definitely not the bigger number. So that's why this is false. When we look at B, this gets a little tricky, right? It says that 5 is less than or equal to 5. Now, 5 and 5 are both equal to each other, which means that they need to have that equal sign symbol, and this actually does provide it. So because the line is underneath that inequality, this is saying that 5 and 5 are equal, which is true. So if there's that line underneath and the numbers are both happen to be the same, you can say that's true. Now this one, -2 and -2 are equal to each other, but notice how this inequality does not have a line underneath. So this is false. So if it did have that line underneath like that guy, then we can say that that statement would be true, but not the case. D here says that 6 is less than or equal to 7, and 6 is definitely less than 7. So 7 should be where the mouth is pointing, and it definitely is. So this is true. And that's it. So hopefully this gives you a better idea how we use these inequality symbols.